Welcome back to my podcast, episode 3. And today on Madi Moshes, I have my friend who's already graduated. I haven't seen him in forever. Sam. Sam, can you hear me?
Hello, hello. I can hear you. I'm here.
Perfect. Check, check. Mic, check. Plum hates that. Um, but so, Sam, the reason I have Sam on today is because we have gone to some really fun concerts together, too, actually, that ended up being two of my favorite shows, one of which I spoke about on my last podcast with my friend Daniel. And that was the Trophy Eye show that we went to at the
Oh my
RBC in Deep
goodness.
Ellum. What a show! I really
Yes.
enjoyed it.
That was, I don't know if I told you this, that was the first concert I had been to since seeing Skillet on like
Yes,
their Awake and Alive tour.
yes, like
Yeah,
a big old stadium tour. I hate those.
exactly. So it was quite the experience, and it was what it is. It's one of my favorite memories.
Yeah,
I love that show so much.
I just the aesthetic of the show, and I really never comment on the aesthetic of a show, but the red
Hmm.
lighting just really did it for me when they came on stage. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what it
absolutely.
was about the red lighting, but I loved it. And then we walked in. It was actually a very cold, brisk evening in November, I think it was. Um,
Hmm.
and we saw Can't Swim, as I ended up really loving Can't Swim, and I've seen them multiple times.
I love that was right after I discovered them as well. Like right after I started listening to them, I was like,
Yes.
oh
Be-
yeah, I'll go listen to Can't Swim.
yeah, and I was kind of like kicking myself because I had seen Can't Swim previously, and I've done this with multiple bands before. I will see a band and think, wow, that band was really good live. I wish I would have listened to them before I saw them. And then even after I've watched them and acknowledged the fact that I thought they were great, I still don't. I'm just like, unless it comes across my Spotify, I'm just going to completely be negligent to the fact that I heard a really talented band. So when we saw Can't Swim that time, that was my second time seeing Can't Swim. And I still couldn't
Oh
have.
my goodness.
I know. The first time was whenever I went to Movements at the Dirty 30 in Deep Ellum.
Ooh.
And yeah, it was, they opened for Movements, and I was like, wow, this band's really cool. Next. Like, I just don't know what I was thinking.
I love
But
that. I love that experience though. Like I love whenever the first time I hear a band is live, just because it feels so unique and interesting. Like the first time I heard The Obsessive was live, and
yeah,
it is still to this day one of the best live performances I've ever heard in my life.
yeah. See, I love that, but it's this weird feeling of, okay, yeah, that was a really great performance, but I knew you were going to perform, and I should have looked you up earlier so I can sing along with everybody else who I'm jealous that they know your songs and I don't. I feel left out. That's exactly how I
That's
feel.
fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
so
I understand that.
I mean, but it also makes for a really great show, and you're really excited to see them a second time because then you can go and you don't even have to look up the set list. I think it's a buzzkill when you look up the set list now. When I go see some band that I know all the words to all their songs, so we'll say Trophy Eyes, for example, since we already brought them up, I can go see Trophy Eyes and not have to look up their set list because I'm going to know it regardless. So it's the point. I might as well be surprised. So,
I don't. I honestly kind of enjoy not looking up the set list because I
me
like being
too.
surprised by what they're gonna play.
Yeah,
Because
me
then I'll
too.
just show up and it's that's one thing I like to do. Is, as much as I love listening to like albums all the way, what I'll do is I'll create a playlist that's just like an entire band's discography, and I'll just hit shuffle on it, and I'll just let shuffle take me wherever it needs to. So it's just that same theory, but live in concert.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think so the other show that Sam and I went to together, I think I was counting down for this show. I couldn't tell you the last time I was so excited for a show. It was Movements, Citizen, Turnover, and The Story So Far. It was the most pleasing fall aesthetic lineup. Um, I again was kicking myself because I didn't really get into Citizen, but now I love Citizen. Um,
Oh yeah,
but that was, I can only count on one hand how many times I've showed up to a concert early enough to see the openers. Because you
Well,
know,
it's because Movements
better
was
late.
the opener.
But we showed up early because Movements was the opener, and there was no way that you can miss that. And
That was
that was what?
that was the first time that I had ever heard any of those bands live. Like that was my first Movements concert. I had never really listened to Citizen. I had just listened to Peripheral Vision, and then I'm sorry, I know you're gonna hate me for this. I've never listened to the story so far.
Ouch. That hurt me.
I
I'm
know.
just
So
kidding.
I went and
I'm
heard
just
them, and
kidding.
I went and heard them, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty nice." And
Yeah.
everybody's going crazy, and I'm just standing in the back like, "Yeah, this is good. I just don't know any of these songs."
Yeah. If there's anything that I really do remember about that show, it's the fact that whenever we were leaving the show, so we met up with a mutual friend there, Tyler, and as we were leaving, we all gathered at this pole. I think, do you remember that? There was always this pole that I met up at the very end with Daniel and Dylan, and it's just right outside of the merch booth. Well, we met somewhere around
Oh,
there, or we were trying to find
yes,
each
we did.
other. Yeah, and I saw, everybody, and was asking, hey, did everybody enjoy the show? That was so great. Oh my God, the post concert high. And Tyler was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you were crowd surfing and kicked me in the face. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But when you're up there, you just, I don't know.
you just don't care. It
You
just
just don't care. I'll do it
you're
again.
just having a grand old time.
I know. Well, I have, my fangirl moments, and Kellen in the band, the story so far, I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with him. So I, I just repeatedly crowd surfed just to try to make eye contact with him. And I did one time, and we held it for a little bit.
Oh my word.
I know.
Oh
And I was
my
like, oh
goodness.
my
Don't
gosh.
even start.
Blow him a kiss. Tell him I'll,
Okay,
creep my
now.
way backstage. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm
Yeah,
not kidding
exactly.
about the part where I was crowd surfing. It was like, oh my God, Kellen. But I feel like I always had that one member of those bands that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to live out my dream of marrying somebody in a band and living my life on a tour bus. I'm going to do it. Just like every Wattpad
It's gonna
fan
be with
fiction I've ever read.
it's gonna be with him.
Yeah, it's going to be with Kellen from the story so far. So if by the grace of God, Kellen, if you're watching this, take me up on it. I will
Helen, if you're
join
listening to this,
your
please marry Maddie.
I would join your tour bus. Um, so another thing that I want to talk to you about, because I'm not sure if we've ever talked about this, but I'm also not sure if you ever got into them like I did. But it's possible, so I'm just gonna ask anyway. So, did you ever really get into Panic at the Disco?
Oh my god, did I ever get into Panic at the Disco? I have the the album art for A Fever You Can't Sweat Out hanging up in my kitchen.
Oh my God!
I
So that
love
album
that band.
is fantastic. That album is
Have you okay?
unmatched. Have I what?
That album, that album is. I agree. That album is impeccable. I love that album. But every time I talk about Panic with someone, I have to ask if they've listened to Pretty Odd.
Of course.
Because Pretty Odd is.
And this
Pretty Odd may be
episode
better
is
than A
brought
Fever
to
You
you
Can't
by
Sweat Out.
COVID.
Pretty
What?
Pretty Odd may be better than A Fever You Can't Sweat Out.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
just gonna come out and say it that
I'm
may be
that hurt me a little bit because A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, I feel like is a very, I mean, not that that album isn't, but so unique, from song titles to the lyrics to the instruments, from going back and watching, you know, their live performances and how everything looked like a carnival, and they were at like a circus or whatever, and he, wore his top hat sometimes. I just think that was a whole like entertaining thing that they had going on that nobody, if you started listening to Panic at the Disco whenever Hallelujah or High Hopes came out, I don't know where
then
you've been.
that's just that's just unfortunate. You just if
Right?
those are the songs you discovered on and you like them, then you need to go back and just experience the rest of that band.
Exactly. And if I ask you, do you listen to old Panic at the Disco? And you turn and look me in the eyes and disrespect me by saying, I love I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. I might as well just pass away because who doesn't? Everybody does. It's a timeless song. But
It's a timeless song, and it's like those first three albums, like A Fever You Can't Put Out, Pretty Odd, Vices and Virtues, or just like I just love those albums so much. Those are three of some of my favorite pieces of music that I can put on at any point in time and listen to it, but just like, oh, this is so good.
yeah, I I love Panic at the Disco and I can't they have one more album that I was like, okay, this is good. Um
It's probably
I can see the artwork. I can see the
what's it
artwork.
called?
It's the one with
It's
Miss
the
Jackson on it.
yes, yes. What is that called? God damn it! Now I have
It's
to look it up.
got Miss Jackson, Nicotine, Vegas Lights, I think is the first track on that album.
Oh, Vegas Lights is a banger too. It
It
has
is a straight banger.
yeah. I'm gonna go. I have to look it up now. I have to know
Yeah, I mean,
because it also has um
is that the one
Too
with
Weird to
Girls,
Live,
Girls, Boys?
Too Rare to Die.
Yes.
Yes, Girls, Boys. This is gospel.
This is
Oh,
gospel.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. This
that's
album
a
is
good
fucking
one.
incredible too. That
Yes,
album is incredible too.
I love that album.
It's like I honestly, even the latest two albums aren't that bad.
They're
Like
not.
Panic still like
Death of a
I understand
Bachelor?
it's kind of just the Brendan Urie show now, but
Yeah,
he still makes really good music. I still really enjoy them. It's just those first ones. The first half is just it's just next level good.
yeah. And it's almost like it's not even comparable because Panic at the Disco, at the beginning of Panic at the Disco, is completely different from Panic at the Disco now. I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about songs that could easily fit in on the radio from the albums that they're creating today to really weird songs that they had back
Oh
in
yeah.
the day. Um, what's that really lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off. Who names a song that? But the song was so good. So, I mean,
It
you can't argue with it, but they're not going to put that on the radio. So, I mean,
exactly.
what do you do?
I mean, I think that's a lot of I think that's what's happened with a lot of bands. It's not necessarily radio like music, but I think it kind of applies to a lot of different mediums, not just music. Where used to like a lot of it you could tell was created from passion and created from like just inspiration to create music, which I'm
Yeah,
not saying they don't do now, but like things back then, like 2005, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. What else do we get? That's like Prime Fall Out Boy, Say Anything Is a Real Boy. That's MCR. Like that. Those are just like some incredible music, and it's not that they've gone downhill since then. It's just as you progress as a band, and as especially in
evolution.
today's world where yeah, you evolve as a band, and now you're like, oh well, things have gotten to a point where I don't have to because look, they spent 2 years, 2 or 3 years in between A Fever You Can't Sweat Out and Pretty Odd. They took 3 years, and then 3 years for Vices and Virtues, and then since then it's been an album a year, and it's like not to say that you have given up. I'm not saying that at all, but
Yeah.
it's very much come to a point of I can turn things out quicker and still make the amount of money that I'm making.
Yeah, exactly. And you know who needs to drop an album? 100%, which I don't think, I'm not sure
So
you
it,
even listened to him, but Pierce the Veil has not. The last album Pierce the Veil dropped was Friday, May 13th, 2016. It's engraved in my brain because it was the best day ever, and I haven't had anything
it's
since then. So,
it's been that long. I didn't even realize it's been that long.
misadventures. Yep, it has been that long,
Wow,
and I am
goodness
suffocating.
gracious.
I know. Did you ever get into Mayday Parade?
I did. I did get into Mayday. Not like during their actual time, but
Yeah,
I
no, me
listened to their
either.
first album. But I did get into their latest album that came out I think just like a couple of years ago. I can't remember what it's called, but I did listen to that one
Sunnyland.
pretty heavily, and I really enjoyed it.
Was it
Yes,
Sunnyland?
Sunnyland.
Yep, that wasn't
I
bad.
did honestly really enjoy that album.
It was okay. It was a little soft. I just am going to have to absolutely flex on A Lesson in Romantics because there's nothing like
And
that album. If you're going through a breakup or any part of your life right now, there is nothing that album can't fix because it is so good. And the
another
song
just
titles are so
classic.
good.
I
Like, what are some
I
song titles from
love
there?
just goofy ass song titles of stuff too. It's
Mayday
always just
Parade.
really
It's
interesting to me.
always Mayday Parade. One of my favorite songs by Mayday Parade is called "Call Me Hopeless but Not Romantic." I love that song. I'm trying to think of a lesson in romantic song titles. There's something about a martini. When I get home, you're so dead. Just classics, timeless. I swear, I'm going to make a playlist. And I say that there are albums. I don't know if you ever. I'm pretty sure I posted one last night. I'm a huge NF fan. NF's a rapper. I won't get on about that though.
Mhm. Mhm.
And his
Mhm.
last album, The Search, I posted a song from it. And I was like, throw this in my coffin or my casket, whatever I said. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, throw this album with me when I go down. Like, there are just so many good albums. I'm going to make a
Oh,
playlist.
there's literally one of my friends sent me this album the other day, and I was listening to it, and one of the songs I was listening to it, and I was like, yeah, I think I want this song played at my funeral.
Yes.
I was listening to it, and all I was imagining was a funeral, and I was like, yeah, this is whenever I die, we'll play this one.
Yes. I'm going to leave. It's like a will, but it's not. It's going to be a playlist titled "To Be Played at My Funeral." I would appreciate it if somebody really abided by that. They're going to be bangers, and
Mhm.
everybody's going to be like, wait, we're really sad. Why is this being played? Because I like that song. Okay? And
Exactly.
you're going to like it too right now. We're at my funeral. It's my time to shine.
I
Um,
get to decide what we listen to.
I may not be here, but you better believe I'll haunt you. So, yeah, but I'm going to make a playlist. I'm going to share it one day after I work really hard on it. It's going to be songs that I want to be buried with. Somebody's going to come
Once you take
across
the
it.
time.
Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, somebody's gonna come across that and be like, wow, this person is already thinking about that. No, I'm not. It's just this feeling of you love this song or you love an album so much, you genuinely don't know what to do with yourself and you can't live without it. So you're not going to. You're just gonna ask a friend to throw the whole copy in your coffin. Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. You're like, look, if whenever it happens, this is just throw this on the throw this through the speakers.
I'll
You'll be fine.
I will
It'll be good.
be at peace. Both Movements albums, the Movements EP, Chemical Miracle, the NF album, I don't know. I'll think about it. But
All at the same time. It's like a 5 hour funeral.
yeah, instead of releasing doves, we're going to have the ceremonial album toss. Just
Yes,
throw it
everybody's
on
just
in
gonna
there.
sit in their chairs. I need you all to sit down for like 4 hours, stare at my dead body, and listen to this music.
Yes. And somebody better say, this is what she wanted, because you're damn right. It is what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
This
there will
is
be an intermission. Yes, there will be a lunch break. We'll play the
yes.
intermission from A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. Dun, 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 dun. And everybody's going to be like, what is this shit? It's me. I'm coming back, DJing my own funeral. We love to see it. But oh my
I really
gosh.
like those intermission songs too that are just like they have
Yes.
no real connection to the rest of the album. They're just
None at
there for
all.
the sake of being an intermission. I
Yeah.
just love. I like one of my favorite bands that I won't mention because they've been canceled to hell. But they have two. They have in their albums they have like some instrumentals that just come out of nowhere and they're just really fucking smooth and it just sounds really cool to just like it's like a commercial break
Yeah.
in an album basically.
Yeah. Well, did you ever listen to The Neighborhood? Probably not.
No, I have not.
I don't know many people who got into The Neighborhood. Well, they have an album called Wiped Out. I really enjoy it. And the very first track is called A Moment of Silence. And it literally is a moment of silence. Like the first 30 seconds of the album is just a moment of silence. So
Nice.
I love the creativity there. Yeah, everybody let's just stand around the mic and do nothing at all. And then call that a moment of silence. I should be a millionaire by now if I could create a whole bunch of moment of silence soundtracks. Um,
I like that.
yeah, I think everybody would much enjoy that rather than me actually singing over it. So, um, sounds like a dying whale, but
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, but it's okay. But I mean, on my final note, I really enjoy this podcast and I really appreciate you coming on and talking about music that you're so passionate about, which is why I do this in the first place. I'm super passionate about the things that I listen to. We have some overlapping bands that we both enjoy. You're super passionate about
Hmm.
bands like Mom Jeans and Graduating Life. And
Of course.
of course, and I just love to see it, whether you're out there and you're passionate about Kenny Chesney or you're passionate about Lil Yachty or whatever, whoever's on the radio right now. Cardi B, I don't know. As long as you enjoy it, I don't think you should let anybody take that from you. But we just have
Of
our
course.
close little knit group of people who like to throw hands in the pit and then stage dive and crowd surf. So that's how you end up with one of
That's why
these
that's
broken noses. Again, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today. And this will honestly
of course.
probably be my last one within the studio. But just because I'm,
Ah. Do,
a graduating woman this semester. But
oh, here we go. Bit congrats. Can I
yes,
get a
thank
round of
you.
applause
I
for
will
Maddie,
not be rocking the
everybody?
stage.
Woo!
Thank you. But I didn't want to anyway. Sorry, mom and dad. But now I'm not forced to because no one is walking the stage. It's fine. Everybody's fine.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. I don't even think I forgot to send in my picture for my slideshow graduation. My mom was kind of upset about that.
I need to do that. Mine's due like December 4th, which is maybe like next week. Right? Next week? The week after. I've got time.
It's coming up pretty soon.
It is. If my mom's seeing this, she'll know that I'll wait till December 3rd or the morning of December 4th. So, okay. Well, I am signing out. Maybe the next episode I will do will be on my own personal YouTube channel from my home, socially distanced in my room. And I will take this mask off. It's been itching me this whole time. But anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Madi Moshes.